Guys, I've got a special guest for you now. His name is Alistair. He's one of our trainers and he's unique, not just in the PUA training team, but also I think globally as a pickup artist. He has a unique style that no one else shares. He has many qualities. They are qualities that are very, very difficult to learn. They're qualities that he's developed, but it would be very difficult for someone else to have. He has no fear of the approach at all. He has no approach anxiety. He does not feel social pressure. He can be in a coffee shop and he can open a set on the other side of the room and everyone's looking at him and he doesn't care. He just sit there and do it. He doesn't blush, he doesn't feel uncomfortable. He's got amazing qualities that are very difficult to develop. Because of that and because of other things, he is an expert on day game. He goes out pretty much every day of the week and does it for fun. He trains as well, but he's incorporated pickup into his everyday life. He just walks around, he goes to the shop, he picks up women, he goes to buy his food, he picks up women, goes to buy a watch, picks up women, and he does it, and that's what guys can see. He's a great trainer and he's got a lot to teach us, so welcome Alistair.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Okay. A bit about myself. I started this just over 2 years ago. When I first started, a lot of guys ask me like if I've always been this way, and it's not true. I've not always been this way. When I first started going out like sergeing, I was crap. You know, I honestly was seriously shit, and I had all the anxiety stuff that everyone else has as well. And it did take over a year for the anxiety to completely go away. Possibly a year and a half before it was completely gone. And for most of that time, I had no skill as well. I developed skill only after I was completely comfortable to approach any set. Because some of these techniques that you hear about, some of them are crazy. They sound crazy, okay? And if you can't imagine yourself going up to someone and practicing it, you're not going to be able to do it. Because like some of the really like sexual stuff, you know, they have to have the balls to use some of those kinds of approaches on strangers that you don't know. They might react badly, you know, and you have to have no anxiety before you can start testing stuff. Because if you're too scared to say something, how are you going to get good at saying that kind of stuff? Some of these openers are really indirect, you know, some of the methods of approaching, but also some of them are very sexual, like, and believe it or not, those are the ones that I like to do now, because the women, they're sometimes so shocked that you're saying stuff like that they get intrigued, and the set like holds instead of them going away, because they don't like to be bored, okay? At this point, do you know what changed my game the most is that after a certain amount of sets, and I'm talking thousands, I got so fucking bored with what I was doing, you know, and I had to make it interesting. As soon as I started making it interesting for myself, it became interesting also for the women as well.
What's some examples of making a set interesting, doing something off the wall that is interesting for the woman and yourself?
Well, I like to, like, it's like, you know, has anyone ever seen like one of those like cheesy American dramas where there's like the brothers sleeping with the mother's son's gardener and the, you know, all this kind of thing, you know, and like routines often incorporate this kind of thing, you know. Like I started out with an opinion opener that I got from Neil Strauss, okay, and it was about a cashmere sweater, and it was that I'm getting my friend's girlfriend a cashmere sweater. She's between sizes. Should I get a looser fitting sweater or tighter fitting? And that went really well, and it would just branch out into all different things. But eventually, it just got really boring. So I changed it. I start as usual, tighter or looser, and then I follow it up with she fancies me, the girl fancies me. Do you think it's okay if I went out with her? She wouldn't tell him, obviously, so he wouldn't have to find out about it. And then when they go, oh no, you can't do that, I say, no, it's not for me though, because I don't fancy her. It's just for her pleasure, you know. And they would laugh, you know. And I would go sometimes so far to say, okay, I won't sleep with her, but I'll just go down on her, okay, because that's not for me, that's just for her, you know. They would 9 times out of 10 they would laugh, and it would also communicate that I'm a sexual person as well. You don't want to be the non-sexual guy, okay. The stuff that I do, at some point I'm going to say or do something sexual. I'm not going to overdo it, okay, because it gets boring. It's like what Tyler says, it's a one-note piano, okay. You have to keep playing different notes, okay. But I will do that because I don't want to be perceived as a non-sexual being.